In 2026, something extraordinary is happening, and most of the world isn't paying enough attention. While headlines focus on Silicon Valley, Shenzhen, and Berlin, a technological renaissance is quietly accelerating across Africa. From advanced energy systems to AI-powered mobility, from futuristic infrastructure to breakthrough medical engineering, a new wave of innovation is emerging, bold, ambitious, and unapologetically disruptive. This isn't about catching up. It's about redefining the starting line. Today, we're exploring the 10 most revolutionary technologies emerging from Africa in 2026, innovations that are not only transforming local industries, but reshaping global conversations about power, mobility, sustainability, and intelligence. And as you'll see, some of these breakthroughs are so advanced, they challenge everything we thought we knew about where the future is being built. Number 10. AI-driven smart agriculture systems. Across vast agricultural regions, intelligent farming platforms are transforming food production. These systems use satellite imaging, soil sensors, and predictive AI models to determine exactly when to plant, irrigate, and harvest. Drones monitor crop health in real time, identifying disease before it spreads. Automated irrigation networks reduce water usage dramatically while increasing yields. In regions once vulnerable to climate volatility, precision agriculture is creating resilience. Food security is no longer reactive, it's predictive. Number 9. Next-generation solar microgrids. Energy independence is becoming a defining theme of 2026. Across urban neighborhoods and remote villages alike, modular solar microgrids are delivering reliable electricity without reliance on centralized fossil fuel infrastructure. These systems combine advanced battery storage with AI load balancing, ensuring consistent power even during peak demand. Instead of waiting decades for large-scale grid expansion, communities are leapfrogging directly into decentralized clean energy ecosystems. Number 8. Autonomous electric public transport networks. In major cities, electric buses equipped with semi-autonomous navigation systems are redefining urban mobility. Real-time route optimization reduces congestion. Regenerative braking maximizes efficiency. Fleet-wide analytics continuously improve performance. Public transport is becoming intelligent, scalable, and clean, a model many global cities are beginning to study closely. Number 7. Smart medical drone corridors. Healthcare logistics is undergoing radical transformation. Dedicated drone corridors now transport blood supplies, vaccines, and emergency medicine to remote regions in minutes instead of hours. AI routing systems calculate optimal flight paths while weather-adaptive navigation ensures safe delivery. Lives are being saved not by bigger hospitals but by smarter distribution networks. Number 6. Advanced water purification and atmospheric extraction systems. Innovative technologies are pulling clean drinking water directly from the air using condensation harvesting combined with solar-powered purification. In drought-prone areas, decentralized water stations provide reliable access without traditional pipelines. Water scarcity is being challenged not by scarcity management, but by atmospheric engineering. Number 5. High-speed electric rail prototypes. Engineering teams are developing next-generation rail systems designed for efficiency, speed, and sustainability. Lightweight materials, magnetic assistance systems, and AI traffic coordination reduce travel time between major economic hubs. Regional integration is accelerating physically and economically. Number 4. Intelligent construction robotics. Across expanding urban centers, robotic bricklayers, automated concrete printers, and AI-guided project management systems are dramatically reducing construction timelines. Smart materials adjust to environmental stress, increasing structural durability while lowering cost. Cities are not just growing, they are evolving with embedded intelligence. Number 3. Self-sustaining industrial power systems. Heavy industries are integrating hybrid renewable power cores capable of operating independently from unstable grids. Solar, wind, battery, and advanced energy management systems work together to stabilize manufacturing output. Industrial resilience is no longer theoretical, it's operational. Number 2. Next-gen electric mobility platforms. From hyper-efficient electric vehicles to modular cargo platforms, African engineers are pushing boundaries in clean transportation design. Intelligent battery architecture, adaptive aerodynamics, and AI-assisted safety systems are redefining expectations. Mobility is shifting from combustion dependency to computational precision. And now, number 1. Integrated AI infrastructure networks. Perhaps the most revolutionary development of all is not a single machine, but an ecosystem. Cities are beginning to integrate traffic management, energy distribution, public safety, and environmental monitoring into unified AI platforms. Data flows between systems in real time, optimizing efficiency across entire urban environments. It's not just smart devices. It's smart civilization design. And what makes this moment so powerful is that these technologies are not isolated experiments. They are scalable. They are practical. They are already operational in various stages across the continent. Africa in 2026 is not waiting for permission to innovate. It is building its own blueprint. But this is only the surface of what's unfolding. Because behind each of these technologies lies something even more significant, a shift in mindset. A generation of engineers, scientists, and entrepreneurs who are designing solutions specifically for local challenges, yet with global impact potential. And as investment flows increase, as infrastructure expands, and as international collaboration accelerates, the momentum becomes undeniable. What happens when decentralized energy networks connect with intelligent mobility systems? What happens when AI-driven agriculture feeds data into national economic planning platforms? What happens when healthcare drones integrate with predictive medical analytics? The convergence could be exponential. Entire industries may leapfrog traditional development cycles. And the most surprising part? We may still be at the beginning. Because innovation thrives where necessity meets imagination. And that deeper transformation is not measured in gigawatts, terabytes, or kilometers per hour. It's measured in leverage. For decades, technological influence flowed in one direction. Innovation was exported. Standards were imported. Infrastructure models were copied. But in 2026, something fundamental is shifting. African innovators are no longer adapting to global systems. They are designing systems others may soon adapt to. When decentralized solar microgrids outperform centralized grids in resilience, other regions take notes. When drone-based medical logistics reduce mortality rates in remote terrain, policymakers around the world begin studying the blueprint. When AI-powered agricultural platforms stabilize food production despite climate volatility, international markets pay attention. This is how influence begins, quietly, practically, undeniably. And as these technologies mature, capital follows. Global investors searching for high-growth innovation hubs are discovering ecosystems that combine youthful demographics, mobile-first infrastructure, and a willingness to experiment at scale. Unlike legacy-heavy markets burdened by outdated systems, many African cities are building directly into next-generation frameworks. They are skipping phases, leapfrogging decades, designing infrastructure that is digital at its core rather than retrofitted later. And this acceleration compounds. Because when smart transport networks integrate with renewable energy grids, energy demand becomes predictable. When predictive agriculture feeds into digital marketplaces, supply chains stabilize. When AI infrastructure links traffic, safety, water, and electricity systems, cities operate with synchronized efficiency. The result isn't just modernization. It's optimization. Entire urban environments functioning like coordinated ecosystems rather than fragmented departments. But perhaps the most powerful element of this transformation isn't the technology itself. It's ownership. The engineers writing the code. The scientists building the prototypes. The entrepreneurs deploying the systems. The governments crafting adaptive regulatory frameworks. Local problems are being solved by local expertise, and that builds technological sovereignty. Sovereignty changes negotiation power. Negotiation power changes trade relationships. Trade relationships reshape global economics. And suddenly, the conversation isn't about emerging markets. It's about emerging leaders. Of course, challenges remain. Scaling infrastructure across vast geography requires investment discipline. Talent retention demands competitive ecosystems. Cybersecurity must evolve alongside AI integration. But the trajectory is unmistakable. Innovation density is increasing. Cross-border collaboration within the continent is accelerating. Research institutions are partnering with industry at unprecedented levels. And as the global race towards sustainability, automation, and intelligence intensifies, Africa's 2026 technological wave positions it not as a follower, but as a contributor shaping the direction of that race. Now, imagine 5 years forward. Autonomous transport corridors linking major cities. AI-managed renewable grids stabilizing industrial production. Agricultural exports optimized through predictive climate modeling. Smart healthcare networks delivering precision medicine to rural communities. This isn't speculative fiction. It's an extrapolation of momentum already visible. And momentum, when sustained, becomes transformation. The world often underestimates quiet revolutions because they don't announce themselves with fanfare. They build, they iterate, they scale. And then one day, they redefine expectations. The 10 revolutionary technologies we explored today are not isolated highlights. They are signals. Signals that innovation ecosystems are diversifying. Signals that problem-solving models are evolving. Signals that the geography of the future may look very different from the geography of the past. And perhaps the most important realization is this. When innovation emerges from regions that have historically faced infrastructure constraints, those solutions tend to be resilient, efficient, and scalable by necessity. That makes them powerful, not just locally, but globally. And if 2026 is the year these technologies gain international recognition, then the next decade could be the period where their full impact reshapes industries far beyond their origin. That final dimension is coordination. Because innovation alone is powerful, but synchronized innovation is unstoppable. The technologies emerging across Africa in 2026 are impressive individually. Smart agriculture, AI-driven infrastructure, autonomous mobility, renewable microgrids, medical drone networks. But when these systems begin to interconnect intentionally, their impact multiplies. Imagine a continent-wide digital backbone linking energy production, logistics, healthcare, agriculture, and education through interoperable AI platforms. Data flowing securely across borders. Standards aligned. Talent collaborating across regions instead of in isolation. That's when momentum becomes architecture. Architecture becomes permanence. And permanence becomes influence. But coordination requires more than technology. It demands policy frameworks that encourage experimentation without stifling growth. It requires investment models that prioritize long-term infrastructure over short-term returns. It requires cybersecurity systems robust enough to protect increasingly intelligent networks. And, perhaps most critically, it requires vision at scale. Because the opportunity in 2026 isn't just to build innovative projects. It's to design systems that talk to each other. When renewable grids integrate with electric mobility platforms, transportation costs drop. When AI-managed water systems feed into smart agriculture networks, food production stabilizes. When digital health records sync with drone logistics and predictive analytics, response times shrink dramatically. The compound effect is exponential efficiency. And efficiency drives economic acceleration. But here's where the story becomes even more compelling. Africa's demographic trajectory, young, digitally native, adaptive, means that the next generation of engineers, developers, and founders are growing up inside this transformation. They're not adapting to old systems. They are designing new ones from scratch. That creates cultural fluency and innovation. It reduces resistance to technological integration. It accelerates adoption cycles. And adoption speed often determines global leadership. At the same time, global collaboration is increasing. Research partnerships between African universities and international institutions are expanding. Cross-continental venture capital networks are forming. Tech summits are no longer symbolic, they are operational. The narrative is shifting from potential to performance, from emerging to executing. Yet sustainability of this revolution hinges on strategic scaling. Infrastructure must expand beyond flagship cities. Rural inclusion must remain central. Education systems must continuously align with technological demands. And regulatory agility must match the pace of innovation. If those pieces align, the next phase won't simply be technological growth. It will be systemic transformation, the kind that changes supply chains, redefines export categories, alters geopolitical leverage, and recalibrates how the world defines technological leadership. Because thresholds are not endings. They're launch points. What we are witnessing in 2026 is not a peak. It is a platform. A foundation strong enough to support technologies that haven't even been fully imagined yet. Quantum research initiatives are beginning to surface in academic institutions. Advanced semiconductor fabrication discussions are no longer hypothetical. Space tech startups are exploring satellite deployment for climate monitoring, communications, and precision agriculture. The ecosystem is diversifying, and diversification increases resilience. When mobility innovators collaborate with energy engineers, breakthroughs compound. When agricultural AI developers integrate satellite analytics from local aerospace startups, precision becomes predictive at national scale. When fintech platforms plug into smart infrastructure systems, economic participation expands dramatically. Technology stops being vertical. It becomes horizontal, interwoven, mutually reinforcing. This is where the narrative transitions from revolution to renaissance. Because renaissance implies cultural shift, a rebirth of intellectual confidence, a collective recognition that innovation is not imported inspiration, but internal capability. And confidence fuels ambition. Ambition fuels experimentation. Experimentation fuels breakthroughs. But breakthroughs must be institutionalized. That's the next inflection point. Research institutions are expanding STEM programs aligned directly with emerging industries. Startup incubators are forming specialized tracks for AI ethics, renewable systems, biotech, and robotics. Public-private partnerships are becoming structural rather than symbolic. These are not isolated sparks. They are scaffolding. Scaffolding for sustained technological ascent. And as global markets become more interconnected, demand for adaptable, low-cost, high-efficiency systems will only grow. Many of the solutions emerging now are built precisely for environments where resources are limited and performance cannot be compromised. In a world increasingly constrained by energy costs, climate risk, and infrastructure strain, those design philosophies become universally valuable. Which means the technologies born from necessity may become the technologies that define global optimization. But there's still a final catalyst required to fully unlock this trajectory. Trust. Trust in data governance. Trust in digital infrastructure. Trust between governments, private sector leaders, and research communities. Trust between nations collaborating on shared innovation frameworks. Because advanced AI grids, autonomous logistics corridors, and decentralized energy systems rely on coordinated confidence. And confidence must be earned through transparency, security, and performance. If trust strengthens alongside innovation, the acceleration could be extraordinary. If fragmentation interrupts collaboration, progress could slow. That tension defines the next chapter. Yet the underlying momentum remains strong. Young innovators continue to build. Engineers continue to prototype. Cities continue to digitize. Investors continue to explore. And the 10 revolutionary technologies we began with are already evolving into second-generation iterations, smarter algorithms, stronger batteries, more adaptive materials, more autonomous systems. Iteration compounds. Compound growth reshapes expectations. And reshaped expectations redefine global standards. The world often expects revolutions to be loud. But some of the most consequential transformations move quietly, scaling, integrating, optimizing until suddenly they are everywhere. If current trajectories continue, the technologies emerging in 2026 will not remain regional highlights. They will become reference points, case studies, benchmarks, and possibly blueprints. And when future analysts trace the arc of global technological influence, they may identify this period not as a surprise, but as the moment momentum became undeniable. The Renaissance is underway. The systems are forming. The next decade is taking shape in real time. And so we arrive at a powerful realization. The 10 most revolutionary technologies emerging from Africa in 2026 are not isolated flashes of innovation. They are signals of a structural shift. A shift in who builds, who leads, who defines the standards of tomorrow. From AI-driven agriculture to autonomous mobility, from decentralized energy grids to intelligent healthcare logistics, these breakthroughs reveal something deeper than technical progress. They reveal confidence. They reveal capability. They reveal momentum. In a world racing toward automation, sustainability, and digital integration, the regions that design adaptable, resilient systems will shape the future. And in 2026, Africa is proving that it is not waiting for inclusion in that future. It is actively engineering it. This is not a story about catching up. It is a story about stepping forward, about transforming constraints into catalysts, about building technologies that are efficient because they must be, intelligent because they need to be, and scalable because the vision demands it. History often remembers the loudest revolutions, but the most transformative ones are built steadily, through iteration, collaboration, and belief in possibility. And if the trajectory we're witnessing continues, 2026 may be remembered as the year the world stopped asking whether Africa could lead in innovation and started studying how it did. The revolution isn't coming. It's already here. Think about it. What happens when AI-integrated cities become models studied globally? When decentralized energy grids outperform centralized fossil infrastructures? When smart logistics corridors rival legacy shipping routes in efficiency? Suddenly, the map of influence shifts, and the countries that once imported frameworks begin exporting them. The 10 revolutionary technologies we explored are early indicators of that shift. They are not isolated experiments. They are building blocks of a broader ecosystem forming in real time. An ecosystem driven by necessity, accelerated by youth, empowered by digital connectivity, and strengthened by resilience. And perhaps that resilience is the defining advantage. Because innovation born from constraint often prioritizes efficiency over excess, adaptability over rigidity, function over flash. In a world facing climate volatility, economic uncertainty, and rapid automation, those priorities are not just admirable. They are essential. The quiet technological surge of 2026 may not dominate every headline today, but history rarely announces its turning points while they're happening. They reveal themselves later, when patterns become undeniable. And if current trajectories continue, when analysts look back at this decade, they may mark 2026 as the year Africa's technological voice moved from background conversation to central dialogue, not as a footnote, but as a driver. And as this transformation continues to accelerate, one question remains open. Will the world simply observe this revolution? Or will it partner with it? Because the future isn't being built in one place. And that energy is beginning to attract something even more powerful than attention. It's attracting alignment. Multinational corporations are no longer viewing African tech hubs as experimental outposts. They're establishing research centers, pilot programs, and long-term innovation partnerships. Venture capital is evolving from cautious observation to strategic deployment. Governments are drafting digital transformation policies that assume intelligent infrastructure as the baseline, not the ambition. Momentum is turning into gravity, and gravity pulls ecosystems together. As artificial intelligence integrates deeper into transportation, agriculture, finance, and healthcare, interoperability becomes the next frontier. Developers across borders are beginning to standardize APIs, data security frameworks, and machine learning protocols. This quiet standardization could become one of the most influential exports of the decade, invisible, yet foundational. Because whoever shapes digital standards often shapes markets, and markets shape power. But there's an even more subtle shift happening beneath the surface, a cultural one. Innovation is no longer framed as imitation. It's framed as authorship. Young engineers are not asking how to replicate Silicon Valley models. They are asking how to solve uniquely regional challenges with globally scalable solutions. Climate adaptation, decentralized infrastructure, off-grid optimization, low-cost scalability. These aren't niche experiments. They're future-facing solutions for a world increasingly dealing with volatility. And that volatility is global. As climate pressures intensify and supply chains face disruption, resilience becomes currency. Technologies designed in environments that demand resilience naturally gain relevance worldwide. This is where the 2026 revolution gains strategic weight. Because while some regions retrofit sustainability into old systems, Africa is embedding sustainability into new systems from the ground up. That distinction matters. It reduces transition costs. It accelerates implementation. It improves long-term durability. And as these systems mature, knowledge transfer flows outward. Urban planners from other continents begin studying decentralized grid architecture. Agricultural ministries examine AI-based crop prediction models developed under unpredictable weather conditions. Transportation authorities analyze autonomous corridors optimized for mixed infrastructure environments. What was once considered peripheral becomes instructive. But here's the deeper layer. True transformation isn't measured solely by export of technology. It's measured by narrative shift. And the narrative is changing. The conversation is moving from aid to alliance, from emerging opportunity to strategic partner, from future potential to present capability. And narrative influences investment. Investment accelerates scaling. Scaling builds permanence. Now imagine a future where African-developed smart city software powers municipalities on multiple continents, where decentralized solar microgrid models are adopted in disaster-prone regions globally, where drone logistics systems influence international humanitarian frameworks. That future is not improbable. It's iterative, built step by step from the 10 revolutionary technologies we explored, and dozens more still developing in labs, workshops, and startup incubators across the continent. But sustaining this trajectory demands continuous adaptation. AI ethics frameworks must evolve responsibly. Data sovereignty must balance openness with protection. Talent pipelines must expand through education reform and technical training. And that's where the next chapter unfolds. Because revolutions aren't defined by invention alone. They're defined by continuity. Can innovation ecosystems maintain speed without sacrificing stability? Can regulatory systems remain agile without compromising security? Can cross-border collaboration scale faster than geopolitical fragmentation? The answers to those questions will determine whether 2026 becomes a symbolic milestone or the foundation of a multi-decade technological ascent. Yet if the patterns we're seeing continue, the collaboration, the investment, the system-level thinking, then the trajectory points towards something far more significant than isolated breakthroughs. It points toward continental integration through technology. A networked future where innovation nodes across cities and nations connect into a cohesive digital spine. And when that spine strengthens, its influence extends far beyond geography. Because in the digital age, power flows where systems are intelligent, adaptive, and resilient. And 2026 may very well be remembered as the moment the world realized that the epicenter of some of the most practical, scalable, and future-ready innovation was expanding in a direction few fully anticipated. The story isn't finished. It's accelerating. And as the next wave of technologies moves from prototype to deployment, from deployment to export, and from export to global standard,